A 3-hour flight with no return ticket. Brad Sinoti spent 10 years in Australia raising his kids as Aussies, but now he's alone after being deported back here to his homeland.
Well, I've done 6 months in prison. I got a notice that my visa was cancelled when I was in there. I've paid for it pretty harsh, and my kids are paying for it probably the worst.
Brad was deported last year from Brisbane on drug charges. He's pushed himself back up on his feet, working as a jib fixer in Dunedin, but he misses his family.
Sometimes you break down, just because you think about your kids. So I guess you got to just distract yourself every day you wake up and just forget that you are a 501.
Australia's sent thousands of Kiwis back since 2015 after controversial changes were made to Section 501 of its Migration Act. Newshub can reveal they've been convicted of more than 8,000 offences in New Zealand since 2015. The most were for dishonesty, more than 2,000. Violent crimes made up 1,387 offences. 861 convictions were for drugs and antisocial behaviour, and 57 were for sexual crimes. Police have been blaming 501s for our escalating gang problems.
The gang environment has significantly changed as a result of returned offenders.
Former Labour MP and community lawyer Sue Moroney says 501s should get similar support as refugees.
When we have refugees resettled here in New Zealand, the New Zealand government provides a really comprehensive resettlement program for them.
Refugees get 6 weeks support at the Mangere Resettlement Centre, where they get help with integration, finding work and where to live. New Zealand's first refugee MP sees merit in giving 501s better support to settle in.
501 deportees that have different needs, but it would be a start to actually acknowledge that we need to support that community to integrate into life here.
501s who spent a year in prison overseas are supervised by a parole officer. But Sue Moroney says 501s often have complex existing legal issues and struggle to integrate.
The kickstart they give us, it's not enough.
Of the 2,626 Kiwis sent back to New Zealand since 2015, 2,544 were from Australia, compared to just 47 from the United States. The Prime Minister's consistently made her position clear to the Aussies.
Do not deport your people and your problems.
In a statement, the Australian Border Force said over 94% of Kiwis deported since 2019 had done so voluntarily.
They are generally in those detention centres until they voluntarily agree to their visa cancellation, which ends up in their deportation.
You feel like you were treated fairly by the Australian authorities?
Well, absolutely not.
Brad just wanted a second chance to be with his kids.
You don't even get to say goodbye to your kids. It's pretty cruel.
Australia's hardline position could soon get even harder. New legislation would permit more deportations, leaving us with more to manage. Newshub understands a number of government agencies here are looking into what additional support 501s could receive when they arrive, but it's still in the early stages. Zane Small, Newshub.